Hello people, welcome to my video. Let's talk about some exercises. I know, you guys know it all. But let's talk about something which you haven't heard of. Have you ever felt like stress is your middle name? Or that only gym gains can help you being strong? So let's think about this. The night before a major test is approaching. Stress levels are through the roof. Caffeine is pumping through your veins, and that textbook might as well be in a different language right now. Your heart is thumping, your mind is racing, and all you can think about is how you'll work out at the gym tomorrow. Does that sound familiar to you? Yes, for the majority of us, yes. Relieving stress is picking up weights, hammering through the sets, and hoping that mental fatigue would follow physical tiredness. However, what if there was another method for truly calming your body and mind? What if there was a calm activity that boosts your body and mind as well? You want to know more about it? So let's go. So, what is that activity? That is yoga. So, let's get to know more about yoga. What is yoga? Why yoga? And how long people are doing yoga since. So, yoga is a group of physical, mental, and spiritual practices of disciplines that originated in ancient India, aimed to controlling body and mind to attain various salvation goals and practiced in the Hindu, Jain, and Buddhist traditions. Why do we say that yoga is a gift from ancient India to the world? Because yoga is originated in India over 5000 years ago as a holistic practice for mind, body, and spirit, rooted in ancient texts like Vedas and Upanishads, with further development in the Yoga Sutras by Patanjali. So, what's the core philosophy of yoga? Yoga focuses on achieving harmony between the mind and body through practices like asanas, which is also known as postures, pranayamas, which is also known as breath control, and meditations. That goes beyond physical fitness and emphasize mental clarity, inner peace, and spiritual growth. So, why yoga now? So, yoga has been introduced to the West in the late 19th and early 20th centuries by pioneers like Swami Vivekananda and Swami Paramhansa Yogananda. Yoga is celebrated globally on International Yoga Day, June 21st, recognized by United Nations. So, what's the modern relevance of yoga? So, while culture and spiritual roots are Indian, yoga has evolved into a universal practice accessible to people of all cultures and lifestyles, combines ancient wisdom with modern science, offering benefits for physical health, mental well being, and stress management. So, let's see some myths about yoga. People think yoga is for just long lasting results. That's not true. Let's see a clip, which is a funny illustration of that myth.
With enough meditation, you can open your third eye.
I've been coming for years and I still can't do that.
Years? I don't have time for that.
What? That can't be right.
Wasn't that funny? That's not true at all. Yoga can give you quick results too if done in a proper manner. So let's get into physical health and yoga. How yoga gives you physical health advantages. So first, let's talk about strength benefits. So while doing yoga, it improves muscle, bone, and core stability, supports functional strength for daily activities. So these are the main benefits you will be getting after doing yoga for your strength. So strength is not everything. So let's talk about flexibility. Flexibility benefits from yoga are that enhances your range of motion. Imagine you can rotate your arm at full range of motion. How cool that could be. Your shoulders have no pain, your back is flexible as a rubber. That's a total new variant of you. And that also reduces the risk of injuries. Imagine you working out every day, going to the gym every day, and coming back with no injuries at all just for your entire workout routine. You are adding 5 minutes of yoga and you are getting no injuries. how good that can be. Okay, that was the physical health. Now let's talk about some peace. So, my next point is our mental health. In this fast going, crowded, loud world, let's find some peace doing yoga. So, what yoga helps the most with? Anxiety and depression. So, regular yoga practice can reduce the cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone. And I'm not just saying for the sake of saying, I have my research pretty well done. Second, it also increases your focus and clarify things. Breathing exercise like pranayama promote mindfulness, which can help your mind to think out of the box. And there is a case study which was done in Harvard Medical School that shows yoga can significantly reduce the symptoms of anxiety after 8 weeks of practice. Wasn't that quick? Right? So, yoga is for your mental health too. Okay, so let's get into some boring stuff, but also important stuff. So, I did 3 article research for this video, and my first article stands for Yoga versus Circuit Training Reducing Stress in University Students. So, I won't bore you guys, but so basically, the idea of those articles were to study randomized trial with nursing and medical students, compared yoga, circuit training, and no intervention for over 8 weeks. And it was very surprising to find that yoga groups significantly reduce in self-reported stress and cortisol levels. On the other side, they also improved cardiovascular markers, reduced waist circumference, and systolic blood pressures, while circuit training group has also observed stress reduction but no impact on cortisol levels. So, the only conclusion from this article was yoga uniquely addresses both mental and biomechanical stress markers, providing effective for holistic health. So, this article suggested us that if you do circuit training, you have stress reduction too. But if you do yoga, you have stress reduction and plus your stress hormones. They also go down. That means overall your mental health is also improving. So, this article suggests that yoga is also beneficial in comparison with circuit training. Okay, let's jump on to the second article. My second article was Yoga for Mental Health in Youth. So, my key points for this article would be what are the challenges we face as youth? First, academic pressure. Second, constant media connectivity, which no one can avoid these days. And this result into the high expectation that contributes to stress and anxiety. So now let's talk what this article told us about benefits of yoga. So, yoga enhances emotional balance, resilience, and self regulations. It also improves mood and reduces anxiety in younger generation, and it's provenly effective when integrated into the schools. So, that article they integrated yoga into school programs and which benefited them a lot. So, yoga offers tools to manage stress and navigate life's demand, fostering better mental health among the youth. So, this article had just main finding yoga is good for mental health. Alright, let's go to the last boring part of this article drama. And the last article was yoga for stress and anxiety. So, they did a study for this article and they conducted with younger adults starting from 18 to 25 years of age and they practiced yoga for 4 weeks. And what they found was that yoga based physical activity decreased the perceived stress level and state anxiety levels of the participant and it did not affect the quality of their life. So, what they are trying to say is that you can get some significant reduction in your stress and stress in specific situations without harpering your quality of life. And the conclusion of this article was even short term of yoga practice is effective for immediate stress and anxiety level. So this is your sign to start yoga without thinking that oh it will take me so long, it will take me years of practice. So that's not true. This article proved that. Okay, so that was my findings and my knowledge on yoga. Now let's hear some voices from the field and let's connect to some experts. So for this we have 3 experts on chart. First, we have Christina, who is a East West Yoga certified instructor. Second, we have Brianna, who is a YMCA personal trainer. And third, we have Jake, who is a personal trainer and a power lifter. With Christina, I discussed how yoga is beneficial, how she can promote yoga as she is a yoga instructor. So I invited her to my podcast and let's hear what she has to say. Welcome to my podcast. To my audience, I would like to introduce you. So, this is Christina. She has East and West yoga certifications, and today she will be the expert of our podcast. So, first of all, Christina, I would like to ask you what motivated you to become a yoga instructor in this fast fitness world?
Originally, I became a yoga instructor I was fresh out of school and I just wanted more certifications.
Okay.
So yoga was offered to me. I took that certification. I've noticed now that I've had it and I've been teaching more how important yoga is. It's not just about flexibility and that, it's about your whole mind and body.
Okay. So, how would you like to say that yoga impacted your personal health and your mental health? While you are also a personal trainer, you also do strength training. So, how would you like to say about what benefits you got from yoga on your mental health?
As I said, when you think of yoga, everyone thinks of flexibility, but it's really that mind-body connection, connecting with your body, taking that time just for yourself to relax, unwind, ground down is very important, especially it's stressful out there. Life is crazy, it gets hard, so it allows me to take that time, whether I take 5 minutes and just worry about do some breath work in it, or if I take, a half an hour, 45 minutes and run like a full class or a sequence, it makes an amazing experience. Just gives me that time to connect with my body, unwind, de-stress, push everything away. It's still going to be there waiting for you when you come back.
Perfect. So I'm doing a project which is mainly for teenagers out there. So as you know, teenagers mostly prefer picking up weights or doing a moderate training. So how would you say that yoga can benefit them? Like what part yoga plays into someone's physique, like in the matter of flexibility or mobility?
Well, that's it. It allows you to keep your joints very flexible. It allows your body to be very flexible. But as I said, it really allows you to get into that mindset, release that tension in that, especially because a lot of young kids today are on those tablets. They're constantly with that forward position. So we're noticing a lot of them are starting to get that hump. So yoga really forces you when you're getting into it to hold that body up tall, extend right through that crown, right through that spine, keeping that strong core, so that it gives you the strength and flexibility, because no matter whether you're doing strength training, you're doing flexibility, whatever you're doing, your core is your most important part. It's holding you up all day long, so they really get the benefit of that just by keeping that body in alignment.
Cool. And one more question about that. So, if someone is starting yoga today, what would be your advice to them? Like why they should start and why that yoga is good for them? Any one sentence line or anything?
It helps with stress. 100% is the main point. Like I said, you don't have to be flexible. You don't have to be strong into medication. Just even taking that time to connect with your body and see how you're feeling in that day.
Cool.
It can allow you, like I said, to release some stress, release some tension in that body, as well as have some amazing alignment.
Okay, and one more last question. So, the main benefit of yoga is that helps to correct the posture of the body as well as gives you strength, flexibility and everything. But it also helps to someone who is dealing with anxiety and depression. So, you have to say anything about it?
As I said, getting down on that mat, you let go of that tension. You really got to give yourself gratitude just for showing up for yourself, taking that time just as I said, push out that distraction, give yourself that 45 minutes, even 5 minutes, just taking that time to, as I said, connect that mind and body and breath all to one, because a lot of the time people don't do full breaths. There's a lot of shallow breathing where then you're not fueling the body with the oxygen that it needs. It's really important, take those long, slow, deep breaths, and just giving yourself a coping mechanism for the stress that's in there.
Okay, and so my final product of this podcast is that we will be doing some yoga poses for the beginners who don't know yoga exists. So would you be okay to show some yoga poses for my audience so they can also start doing yoga with their strength training routine?
Absolutely.
Okay. So next up we have Brianna, who is the YMCA personal trainer. I also invited her to my podcast. Let's see what she has to say now. Audience, this is Brianna. She is a personal trainer at YMCA. Today she is doing this podcast because we have to also get someone who is into strength training as well as yoga. So welcome to my podcast. So my first question would be, why would you say that yoga is also as important as cardio and strength training?
Yeah, so I feel like the importance of strength training and cardio is a given, like we understand that, but I think working your body so hard and so heavily in the gym with weights puts a bit of a load on your body. It's nice to bring that to yoga and bring the calmness of yoga to your body as well as your mind. Like I feel like yoga is big into mental strength as well as body strength. I feel like having that balance of strength training, cardio, and then the calmness of yoga, adding in the flexibility, the balance, that kind of thing. I feel like having that good balance between the three is very important.
Cool. And would you say that yoga also helps to improve the strength training performances?
100%. I've even seen it with clients, but I truly believe it improves performance. Yoga assists in, like I said, imbalances as well as your overall balance. So if you're more right-sided focus or left-sided focus, yoga helps correct that. And again, just that mental strength, I preach that because every time I take yoga, I just feel very mentally clear after, which is a nice feeling. So definitely improves performance.
Okay, and would you like to share any experiences whether you had a client who was pretty resistant to do yoga and start because he thought yoga is just for stretching and that, and his views changed after doing yoga with you?
Yeah, I mean, so I haven't had a ton of those examples necessarily, but one that speaks to me recently is a client who came to me with overall like full body stiffness, arthritis throughout, and then a lot of pain. And not to say that they were hesitant to try yoga, but they've never done it before. So it was just it's a scary thing, right?
Yeah.
To try something new. So she started coming to chair yoga once a week as well as training with me. Okay. And within a week and a half, going from no physical activity to adding a strength training and a yoga, we noticed a massive difference in her physical pain as well as her overall flexibility. She just felt so much better. And now, like, I'm not seeing her anymore, and she still continues to come to yoga. So it's just such a nice feeling. Yeah.
And one last question before we hang up. Do you have any advice for beginners or teenagers who are just getting into strength training?
Yeah.
Or would you like to encourage them to do yoga as well or no?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the more areas in the gym that you can be is amazing. Like, strength is great. I'm all for strength. Cardio is great too. But if you can try those classes like the yoga or the flow fit that we have at the Y, I think it's so important. Like I said, I keep going back to the balance and the imbalances, the core strength, the breathing exercises, and then just building your mental strength. I think it's very important. And also as Gen Z, like I feel like those generations tend to skip the stretching, and not to say that no one else does, but just from what I've noticed. So going into yoga, and it just helps loosen your muscles a little bit as well.
Perfect. So that was all for the podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So next up we have Jake, who is a personal trainer, and he is also a power lifter and a very strong one. So I also invited him to my podcast, but due to his busy schedule, we couldn't get him, but he was very kind enough to send us his video answering some of my questions. So let's hear what he has to say.
What's going on, guys? It's Jake, personal trainer from the YMCA. I've done powerlifting, bodybuilding, sport-specific training, but today we're going to talk about powerlifting and how I started implementing yoga in my day-to-day training. As far as powerlifting is concerned, if you're going to continue to lift heavy, bulk up, gain more weight, get stronger, your body's going to get tighter over time if you're not going to take the time to stretch or elongate the muscles. Your body will become more susceptible to injury if You're constantly putting it under tension, high intensity, especially if you're doing programs like the Smolov program, a well-known Russian powerlifter who created this program. It's basically, the ideology is lift more to lift more. So you do bench more frequently to bench heavier. You squat more frequently to squat heavier. Majority of people who follow programs like this with such a high intensity, again, are at very high risk of injury. And when you get injured, you have to take time off the gym, and nobody wants that. When I started implementing yoga into my everyday life, as far as training goes, my body would recover significantly faster. I would feel a lot looser and get way more range of motion, especially in squats. So when you're squatting down, your body gets typically a little bit tighter as you get deeper into the hole. As I started to squat and do yoga, then it just made getting into that positioning significantly easier. So it's very important that you take the time to stretch after your workout. Warm up before, stretch after your workout. Yoga is one of the best medicines that you can utilize in your everyday training. Make sure you guys learn some yoga. As far as mental health, clarity, and overall composure goes, again, yoga is a great medicine to utilize for both your physical and your mental health. It helps your body feel better connected as far as mind-muscle connections go, because you're holding poses for a long period of time, and the longer you get to hold these poses, the more flexible you become, the more mobility you gain, and the more of an understanding and control you'll have with your body. Yoga is more than just stretching or holding a pose. It is also a yin-yang mentality as far as finding a balance goes, and it can really help you develop that composure, confidence, and control with your own body, which will then transition over into your training. So again, there's more aspects to just yoga rather than only stretching. For those of you lifters out there who think they're too good to do yoga or yoga's lame, you've got another thing coming. Because if you're not incorporating yoga into your, or stretching into your everyday workouts and training, you're actually hindering your ability and your performance to do better. When you do stretching or yoga, mobility exercises, you are allowing your body to adapt and recover significantly faster, because when you're not stretching, your muscle fibers are being torn apart and then they recover much tighter. And when you recover tighter, that's when you lose range of motion. You'll no longer be able to open your arms up as much. You won't be able to squat as low. When you stretch after your workouts, however, or again, you do yoga, practice yoga, you're elongating those muscles, which again allows those muscle fibers to reconnect, but not as tight, and it won't be as constricted, or it won't be as much of a restraint on your own body and your mobility. Take the time to really try and implement stretching, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes after the workout. It'll significantly improve the recovery process and your performance. Anyone who's just starting out practicing or implementing yoga into their everyday training, I would highly suggest they start off with simple YouTube videos and just starting to get familiar with the movements, the sequences, and isometric holds. You can start with your basics like the child pose. You can start with the supine, cobra, downward dog, and just again, holding these positions will allow your body to slowly adapt as you start to implement it more in your everyday training. My personal favorites as far as going for recovery would be the supine, as I mentioned, the pigeon pose, as well as the happy baby pose. Because when you are powerlifting, you're putting a significant amount of pressure on your lower back, your sciatic nerve, your glutes, hamstrings, and these are the types of areas that tend to get significantly tighter as you're doing constant squats, frequent deadlifts, and you typically see the injuries happen within these areas, even the discs. So doing stretches or yoga poses that will strengthen your glutes, stretch out your glutes, hamstring, lower back, anything that's going to target these similar areas is going to significantly help prevent any kind of injuries. And as we all know, nobody likes a good injury. So with that being said, again, take the time to stretch, practice yoga poses, and don't just do it for a few seconds, hold it for a while, challenge yourself. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. So go out there, learn some yoga, and implement that into your everyday training. Get better, guys.
Alright, that was Jake for you guys. Next up, we have some yoga poses from him, which he sent it because he also does that, and he also advised beginners to try it as well and implement them into their workout routine. And we also have his Instagram handle with us, so I'll be posting that in my video. You can go and ask him any questions you have, and he also runs a company which I'll be mentioning in my YouTube video link, so you can check it out too. But before that, let's watch what he has to offer. Now let's see what Christina has to teach us. I also did a yoga session with her. She showed some yoga poses which beginners can try. So let's have a look at it.
I'm going to start with a nice seated pose. I always offer the option of having a block.
Okay.
If you sit on the block, it helps keep you right up in line. It forces that vertebrae to be nice and stacked, stacks you up on top of your hips here.
Okay.
And then you just sit nice and comfortable. You want to bring those palms so they're up. You want to invite that positive energy in. Roll those shoulders back and down, and as I said, extend right through the crown. Nice and tall, and then this is where you take in those nice deep breaths, long and slow, in through the nose, and out through the mouth. And as I said, this pose just allows you to connect with your body, connect with your mind, and it allows you just to check in to see how you're feeling at the beginning of class. So we always start with a little bit of meditation where they'd have their eyes closed if they prefer. But once again, it's not required, and we just allow you to think of how you're feeling. Taking in that nice deep breath in, bring that positive energy in, and then as you exhale, you want to release that tension. And this is your time to check in with your body, so we usually do a scan. You start right at the top of your head here, working down into the muscles in your face, just making note of how you're feeling, going right down into your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your upper back, your core, your hips, going right into your glutes, around into your upper legs, so your hamstrings, your quads, checking in at the knees, going into your calves, your shins, right down into your ankles and down to your feet. So we always just have everyone check in, do that body scan just to see how you're feeling at the start of class. So this is always a great way to start, as I said, and it really allows you to connect with your body and how you're feeling today. So this is the first pose we usually start with.
Okay.
Another pose that you will see quite often Once again, that allows you to connect with your breath and your body as you come into a tabletop position here. So really making sure that your shoulders, elbows, and wrists are stacked right on top of each other and your legs are hip width apart here. And then I always get them to start. You want to keep that neck and head right in line here. So, but when you take in that nice big breath in, when you exhale, you're going to pull that spine up. You're going to drop that head down, reaching right up. And then when you inhale, just the opposite, pushing that belly right down, lifting that head right up. Great job. Continuing with your breath here. So as you exhale, you want to close up that core, lift that head up, drop that down, and then just the opposite. Push that belly down and lift up. So I always love this one because it's another great pose. But from here, for a little bit more challenging, because as we mentioned, you know, the younger generation, they want to work. So from here, we could take it right out, extending right out. So then they're getting a little bit of balance, they're getting a little bit of core. So once they feel nice and strong and nice and stable here, we encourage a little bit of movement. So you bring that knee in, touch that elbow, take it right out. But we really want you to focus on staying nice and stable. So really keeping that hip down as you pull in, and coming right back out here. We'll do one more on this side. Take it out, nice and slow. Set that side down. And same thing on the other side. You're gonna come right out, extending right out through that body, keeping that nice strong tabletop position here. Once you feel that balance and stable, bring in that movement here. So coming in, right back out. Great job. In and back out. And depending on the group, you can also get them to really focus on that breath. So exhale as you come in, inhale as you go out. Exhale as you come in, inhale as you go out. Great job, nice and slow, set it down. And then one last one they can finish with, we'd like to do child's pose. So you bring those big toes right together, you sit right back onto those heels and walk those hands right out, dropping that head right down. Nice, wonderful stretch through that whole body. So those are some very beginner easy poses that get everyone into yoga and that you can share with your friends.
Perfect. So I'll post this video on my YouTube channel and I'll also be giving them some pamphlets from YMCA so they can also contact you as their yoga instructor. And if you are okay with that, I can also attach your social media handle so they can reach out to you if they have any queries about that.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Jay.
Thank you.
Have a wonderful day.
That's it for this video. This is your sign to go and start out yoga. I'll be attaching additional links to my video description. Feel free to reach us out for any help and advice. We will be happy to help you out. Thank you very much.